Children's Pain Relief. This is acetaminophen 160 milligram per 5 ml suspension. It's from Ready in Case, which is a Dollar Tree brand, and it's 4 floral ounces. And it's for ages 2 to 11 years old, alcohol-free, but I can tell you that adults can also take this. A lot of people get confused by that. Oh, it's so thick. Acetaminophen is a pain reliever, and it's also a fever reducer. And the only thing really you need to be concerned about this is the maximum total that you take in a day. There's a limit of 3,000 milligram per day, or 4,000 depending on who you ask. I believe this bottle says 4,000 if I'm not mistaken. A lot of physicians want people to be under 3,000 because it can cause issues with liver. Oh, we got a Arthritis and Muscle Pain Relief Cream. It's capsaicin 0.025%. Oh, it feels pretty nice. It's supposed to help relieve pain by removing substance P from the body. I've tried this before and it doesn't really work too well, if I'm being honest. However, this is only 0.025%. They do make a 0.1%, which is what I would recommend if you want to try this. Oh, anti-itch cream. It doesn't have a cap. Diphenhydramine and zinc acetate. So this is pretty standard. Diphenhydramine is an antihistamine, the first generation, and a lot of folks will use it topically to help with like a rash or just any sort of inflammation. But I will tell you, I don't think that diphenhydramine is absorbed very well through the skin. Most chemicals aren't. That's actually the whole point of the skin, to keep things out. Aspirin 81 milligram, orange flavor, 36 chewable tablets. I bet I could break this. Yep. The 36 milligram aspirin, or the 81 milligram, is used for stroke prevention, but there's really no reason to take this unless your doctor tells you to. It doesn't help at all for pain. It probably is not going to help much at all for a headache. The only reason to take this is to prevent stroke, but in order to prevent a stroke, you would have to have had an event prior that puts you at risk for having a second stroke. So this is pretty much useless. You would never buy this unless a doctor tells you to. It is good to have on hand in case of a heart attack, though. That is a thing. You chew one of those tablets, and it gets absorbed through the mucosal cells in your mouth, and it can help prevent further damage. Oh, diphenhydramine, 25 milligram. There's so many diphenhydramine products at Dollar Tree. So this is an antihistamine, just like we looked at before, except here it is in pill form. Pain Relief PM, acetaminophen 500, diphenhydramine 25 milligram. So this is a sleep aid that I'm not really a fan of. The reason being is because it contains acetaminophen and diphenhydramine, and I think that combination just really isn't that important. The reason being is because acetaminophen is a fever reducer and a pain reliever. And diphenhydramine is an antihistamine that helps with allergies, or in this case, sleep. But the odds of you needing them both together really aren't that great. And if you do happen to need both, I would very much rather you just have a bottle of acetaminophen and a bottle of diphenhydramine, and you take them both at the same time if you need to. One of my all-time favorites, melatonin. I take melatonin. These are the 3 milligram tablets, so I would take 2 of these if I were going to take this. A lot of people have been asking me if you can take this long term, and the answer is yes, you can. There's no reason why you can't take melatonin long term. A lot of people just assume that it loses efficacy over time. That's not true. That's true for a lot of other sleep medications, but not melatonin. It doesn't limit your natural production of melatonin either. This is a naturally produced chemical. That's why people take it, and that's why it helps. Whenever the sun goes down and your body, especially your eyes, are not being stimulated by sunlight, your brain secretes melatonin, which kind of tells your body it's time to go to bed. If you take it exogenously, it does not change the amount that your body produces, or put more accurately, it doesn't turn off or cause any long-term effects about your body's natural melatonin production. This is a Walgreens product. I don't know how that got in here. Pain relief, acetaminophen 325. This is a classic pain reliever and fever reducer. A lot of people don't know that there's different types of pain. Acetaminophen is great for muscle-related pain. Vitamin A and D cream. I bought this on a whim the other day, and it's really helpful. It's really great for smooth and flaky skin. Easy Night Sleep Aid. This is just diphenhydramine. It does contain 10% alcohol. This is the generic version of ZQuil, although there's really not a whole lot of difference between any of the diphenhydramine products. This is okay if you want to try it. I would personally just take a diphenhydramine tablet. Oh, Athlete's Foot clotrimazole. This is 1% clotrimazole. This is an antifungal cream, and this works really well. I've used this before, and it does work. You do have to apply it several times a day. I believe it was 4 times a day. Oh, it was only twice a day. So that's not bad at all. You do have to use it for several weeks, though. That's one of the drawbacks, and people sometimes don't realize that. More melatonin. Sheesh. Ibuprofen 200 milligram capsules. I love ibuprofen. Not a fan of this. 10 liquid-filled gel capsules. I got this at the Dollar Tree, and for $1.25, you only get 10 capsules. That's just not a good deal. They are really pretty, though. Ibuprofen is called an NSAID, which is the same chemical class as aspirin, by the way. Sometimes if somebody's allergic to one, we won't use another one, although there's really no reason why you have to completely avoid the entire class, but sometimes it's just better to be safe than sorry. So they work by inhibiting an enzyme called COX, which then reduces inflammation, essentially. This is better for pain from inflammation, whereas Tylenol, or acetaminophen, is better for pain from muscle pain. So this is muscle pain, good for muscle pain, and this is good for pain from inflammation, like a swollen joint or something. Muscle rub, not to be confused with arthritis and muscle pain relief. This is capsaicin. This removes substance P from the body. This is menthol. It's basically just kind of a cooling sensation. I don't even think it has an actual mechanism of action, but I've used this before and it really doesn't do much. Very gross in texture as well. Looks like Vaseline, doesn't it? Hydrocortisone cream, very standard for any first aid kit. 1% I believe is what's available over the counter. Yes, it is. And 1% hydrocortisone cream is pretty much a standard for anyone. It helps relieve itching and redness and any swelling. Hydrocortisone is a steroid, by the way. A lot of people don't know that, which means it affects inflammation in the body. So whenever your body's having a reaction, the skin, this would help a lot. Pure uncut diphenhydramine, 25 milligram tablets. This is repackaged like 1,000 different times in Dollar Tree. They are very pretty tablets, I think. The term for that is they're pharmaceutically elegant. Again, this is a first generation antihistamine. It just helps with inflammation, basically. Here we have Children's Allergy Relief, 12.5 milligram per 5 ml. This is just liquid Benadryl, liquid diphenhydramine. This is the same thing except in liquid form. It's children's, but if you're an adult, you can still take it. And that's Benny the Tiger. We named him not too long ago. This is cherry flavored as well, by the way. This does not contain alcohol. Nighttime sleep aid. Yet again, another diphenhydramine product. This time it's 25 milligrams. And the directions are slightly different. The only difference, people have been asking me this, what are the differences between these two? Same strength, same quantity, same price, same company. The only difference is the labeling. This package for allergy relief is going to have different directions on the label. I think it says like 1 tablet, 1 to 2 tablets every 4 to 6 hours. This one is for sleep, so it just says, I think it's like 1 to 2 tablets at night or something along those lines. It says 2 caplets at bedtime if needed. So yes, as long as you're dosing it correctly, you can take this one for sleep, and you can take this one for allergies. And these are pretty blue. Athlete's foot again. Don't make any assumptions about me, okay? Triple antibiotic ointment. I got this from the Dollar Tree, and I love this little container. It's so cute, but it's really not a whole lot. I mean, it's only 0.5 ounces. Doesn't have the best feeling or texture, honestly. I'm a big fan of this. It has 3 different active ingredients in it: bacitracin, neomycin, and polymyxin B. All of them are antibacterial chemicals, and this really does work. I've used it several times myself. Anytime you get a cut or a scrape, if you apply this, it likely will not get swollen or red. More children's diphenhydramine. We already talked about this. Vitamin A and D ointment. This is really good. It helps with the skin. I already mentioned that. Here's a new one, Aspirin 325. So this is different than this aspirin. This is 325 milligram, where this one is only 81 milligram. And these are not chewable. You get 100 tablets for $1.25. The only issue with that is aspirin at this dose is pretty useless. This is the dose you want for any heart-related issues. At the 325 dose, it's not going to help with pain. It's not going to help with headache, really. It's not going to help with inflammation. I would never buy this other than to make a review about it. Back and body, again, our best friend aspirin and caffeine this time. So it has aspirin, which is an NSAID or a pain reliever, and then caffeine, which is also, it's listed here as a pain reliever aid. Interesting. Oh, that's why. So an interesting thing about this product is that caffeine, in its mechanism, increases the absorption or the efficacy of aspirin, which is really neat. That's called a synergistic effect, and sometimes we do that intentionally in medicine. We use one chemical with a drug interaction so that it boosts the other chemical, but in this case, there's really no point in doing that, because you only increase the aspirin level by about 20%. So although that technically is occurring in this product, there's no point in doing that. A 20% increase, you might as well just take 2 of the aspirin tablets, which would be well within the recommended dose. You can take aspirin 325, 1 to 2 tablets every 4 hours. So there's no point in taking this with caffeine to increase the aspirin content by 20%. What do we got here? This is just straight Tylenol, or acetaminophen 500 milligram. Psoriasis relief, this is 2% salicylic acid. So salicylic acid is actually similar to aspirin, believe it or not. The other name for aspirin is acetylsalicylic acid. So this is a very similar compound. If you look up the structure of salicylic acid, it'll look very similar to aspirin. This is used for psoriasis relief, it says. I have another ibuprofen bottle here. I don't believe this was from Dollar Tree.